Hello my dear students, welcome back to another session of computer programming classes. So we already completed the first chapter. The question and answers you will get it later. That means already we informed in the previous classes. Within 2 days we will get the reference and notes. So today we are going to learn about the Java programming. That means our second chapter will be Introduction to Java Programming. So what is Java? For what purpose we are using Java, so what are the major features of Java, how it will be using, so that and we are learning in this particular chapter. This is the index for the index for this chapter. So we already studied about the object oriented programming concept in the previous lessons. Okay, so what are the major principles of object oriented programming language, what are the benefits or what are the limitations or what kind of major concepts we are using in the object oriented program, that already we know. So the same concept we are continuing to the second chapter too. That means we already know object oriented programming language, many kind of object oriented programming languages will be there. Okay, so we can consider Java is one of the type of object oriented programming language, isn't it? So the Java programming also moving forward with the help of objects and classes or modules or functions. Based on the object it will be moving forward. Okay, so that's why the Java is considering as an object oriented programming language. So in this chapter we can study more about Java. Okay, so before that, before going to explain the Java concept, we need to understand little history about the Java. Who developed Java, where it was developed, when, that and all we need to know. Just a small history about Java programming language. So Java programming language is introduced or developed by one of the famous computer programmer or software developer named by James Gosling. So primarily developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystem. So Sun Microsystem is a software company, one of the famous or leading software company in USA. It's also located in Broomfield, Colorado, USA. The place will be Colorado, USA. So the Sun Microsystem, it's a software company only. So they are developing the softwares or language, computer programming languages or translators or related all hardware and software related all the applications will be developing in this particular company. So Sun Microsystems, we already such a famous company it is. So the James Gosling, he is a developer. He associated with he joined in Sun Microsystem and he has developed the first version of Java programming language in 1984. Okay, so actually he is from Alberta, Canada. He has born and raised in Alberta, Canada, and he has completed his computer science education, BSc in computer science, and also he has completed post graduation in computer science. Later he completed and he has taken PhD in computer application or computer science. Okay, so then he was became a software engineer and he has associated with the Sun Microsystem. Then after joining Sun Microsystem, he has developed the first version of Java programming in 1984. Okay, so after few years later, that is in 1991, the complete version of Java programming will be modified by James Gosling. That means he is the father of Java programming computer language. Okay, so this is a small history about the Java programming language. So we can go for the next some features about Java programming, how the Java programming will be working. So what are the major features that we can see. So Java programming, we already know it's a type of object oriented programming language. Okay, and also we can tell the Java programming is a platform independent. Platform independent means it's an independent language. Independent language, wherever we need, we can do it. For example, one system. So you have written a program or you have developed a software by using the Java programming in a one particular system. The second time, if you are not completed the program and later you thought of complete later. Okay, so after that you are using some other system, but your program will be in another system. So what we will do? Usually we are using to copy the file and transfer to next system. isn't it? So all the computer languages not supporting this facility. Only few kinds of language will be platform independent. That is one of the platform independent languages known as a Java programming. We can copy the file and paste it to some other system, and whenever we need we can work out it. Okay, so that's why it is called as a platform independent. And at the same time, the Java program we can use it as developing a website and also types of softwares like application software and also system software. So two kind of process we can do by the use of Java programming. So we are using, that means whenever we are accessing a websites or websites, everyone is using website or a internet connectivity. So each and every web pages, when you are going to access, the extension will be, we can see JavaX, .javax or Java .net. So like that, the extension we can see extension means the domain part of the website. So which is domain? So whenever we are going to use the website, the URL it is there, no, that is a website address. So complete uniform resource locator, that you may study in the previous classes, 8th or 7th standard, uniform resource locator. So that complete website address is known as a URL. That is the first part will be www dot. That dot is separated with the next section of the website address, that is a website name, Google. Okay, then dot. The end of the website address what we are saying, that is called as domain name. Okay, .com, education, .edu, .nic, so many things will be there. It's based on the group of category of website, it will be changed, commercial purpose and personal. So like that different kinds of domains will be there. So when you give any website address or trying to access any website address, the number of linked pages will be there. So the linked pages, if you are going to access the web page address, we can see on the address bar. So each and every web page, sometimes it's end with the .java extension, or sometimes it will be end with the .html or .dhtml or .xml. So like that, different kinds of extension we can see. So these all will be web designing languages only, isn't it? So HTML we already studied in the 8th standard. Okay, so HTML, the variants of HTML, DHTML, XHTML, XML, DML. So these all will be web designing languages, that is only for designing a web page. But Java is not like that. Java, both web designing and also application development we are using. That is also we can consider as a platform independent. So the relevant Java software will be there, and also any kind of text editors we can use to develop a Java programming, isn't it? So for example, if you wanted to create a presentation, so creating a presentation means you should be depending on presentation application, that is a Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. So with the use of Word document, you are unable to create a presentation. That is only for documentation. If you wanted to do the calculation, we are depending on the Excel application or spreadsheet application. The spreadsheet application never allowed to do the presentation. That means each and every application is having their own intention will be there. For what purpose it will be using, that already each and application will be already written. Afterwards only they are launched to the public. So every programming language also like that only, even high level programming language or low level programming language or object oriented or procedure whatsoever. Okay, but in high level programming language, in that object oriented programming language, C++ language will be there, and C# will be there, C#.net will be there, Java.net. So many kind of object oriented programming language will be there. But compared with this all the language, Java is having some kind of speciality will be there. That means this Java program is used to develop softwares like system software and also application software, as well as same time they can use to develop the web also or website also. That means both the purpose we are using to using Java programming language. That means different variants of Java will be there. Okay, so we can select any one variants to develop which one we are going to do. That means the website means the relevant website designing Java version will be there, or streaming will be there, and application developing some other group will be there. So that we can, that means commonly Java is used to both the purpose, isn't it? So that's why we can tell Java is a complete platform independent programming language, and also it's called as complete object oriented programming language. And C++ or other object oriented programming, it's not completed, it's a semi object oriented programming. It means both the part we can, it's a object oriented programming method we can use, and also procedural method we can use it, isn't it? So but Java is not like that. Java is a complete object oriented programming language, isn't it? So one of the major feature of the Java programming. The second feature of the Java programming will be Java programming, they can use both compiler and interpreter. So what is compiler and what is interpreter, we can see. Compiler and interpreter. So compiler and interpreter, these two will be a hidden applications. It is used to translate the user language to computer understanding format. So translations under the previous classes we already explained. Okay, how the computer will be able to understand user input, that we already explained. So in between many kinds of conversions has going on. Okay, so who will be handling the translation or who will be handling the conversions? So the relevant application softwares will be there. It's a inbuilt applications apart from the operating system. So whenever we are going to install operating system in our system, like Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8 or Windows 10, so like that, any kind of operating system, apart from the operating system, these two language translators will be installed, isn't it? That is a inbuilt file providing by the OS. Okay, so then always it will be not working, it will not work always. When it will be working? Whenever we are started to use any programming language in our system, or we are going to install the relevant software like Blue Java. For Java we are using Blue Java software, or C++ we are using Turbo C++ software. So any kind of programming language software if you are installed in our system, when you are going to start to work it, the same time the translator will get activated and it will be connected to the software, isn't it? So both compiler and interpreter is a language translator. It is used to translate the user input to computer understanding format, like a machine format. So we are entering ABCD alphabet letters or normal decimal values or numbers. This we already know, the computer never understand what content we are giving to the system. Okay, so this given content cached by the compiler and the interpreter. So both, anyone at a time, anyone they are working, isn't it? So both same time they are not working. So based on the programming language which is related to the programming language, only those translator will be working. So the translator will be cached the input, then it will be converted to machine understanding format, then only we are getting the output. After conversion only the processing will be happening, isn't it? So any one translators we can use it. So the high level programming language and object oriented programming language, these two language translators we are using, isn't it? So we can compare the language translator in Java concept. So Java programming we can use both compiler and interpreter. How it is possible? So whenever we are using the programming language, at a time any one language translators we can use it. But Java is allowing both the language at a time. How it is possible? We can compare with the other language. So C programming or previous other C++ language, we are suggesting only the compiler. Procedural or structured programming language is suggesting compiler translator. And object oriented programming is always suggesting interpreter translator. So the difference between the compiler and interpreter, it will be there. So compiler means after completion of typing the entire content, they are converting to computer understanding format. That means while typing each sentence wise they are not. So after completion of typing the source code or program code, then we are going to save the file. After saving the file only, they are going to convert the content to the machine understanding format. That is compiler. Structured programming method or procedural oriented programming method, they are using compiler translator. Then object-oriented programming method, they are using the interpreter concept. So interpreter concept, it is to compare with the compiler, little slow it is working, but it is good working properly than the compiler. So it is easy to find the mistakes, and actually when the compiler and interpreter will be working, by the time any mistakes will be there or not in the given statement, that also they are considering. Okay, then we can check how the interpreter will be working. So interpreter will be, first we are typing one sentence. Okay, if the given sentence is having any mistake, the interpreter is not allowed to go to the next line. That means the enter key is not allowed when if you are made a mistake in the given sentence. First sentence we are given. So I have typed one sentence. So if the sentence is having one mistakes will be there. Okay, so if mistakes will be there in first sentence, the interpreter is not allowed to come to the next line. First we should find the mistake and recover the mistake and correct the sentence first itself. Then only they will allow to come to the next line. Isn't it? So all the sentence will be like that only. So that's why interpreter is a time consuming process. That means properly they will check the error and recover the error, and conversion also they are doing the same time. Isn't it? So that is used in the object oriented programming. So we already know object oriented programming completely user interface language. So we can easily find out how the programming will be working, how the application will be running, then which is the user interface, is it properly working or not, that's we can easily find out it. But compiler based programming and all, after completion of full language, we have to go for the execution. When you execute the program, by the time only you will get know the program is having error or mistake. But Java programming or interpreter based programming will be not like that. So while writing the source code itself, we can recover the mistakes, we can find the mistakes and we can recover the error and we can find the solution. Then only we are going for the execution. If any small mistakes will be there, they won't allow to execute the program. So interpreter will be providing that facility. So we can come back to our topic. Java is using both compiler and interpreter. That means we already know Java is a platform independent. Everywhere we can use. That means the relevant Java software is there. There also we can do the programming, and also text editors. Text editors. What do you mean by text editors? Whenever we are when you are using or when you are developing a web designing, we are depending on the text editors like Notepad, WordPad, and also command prompt. So these three are the major text editors will be providing by the Windows operating system. So in these three, majorly we are using the Notepad. That is very familiar to the students, because by using the HTML language or design language, we are developing a web page through Notepad only, isn't it? So Java is also a text editor based programming language. We can type our code in a Notepad editor, and also command editor, and also the relevant Java software will be there. So through these we can, it's a platform independent, any platform, the suitable platforms we can use to develop the Java programming, isn't it? So the same time, whenever we are using the Java programming in text editor, they are suggesting the compiler, and software also they are suggesting the compiler. So whenever we are going to develop a websites by using Java, they are suggesting the interpreter. That means the same time Java can use compiler and interpreter as a translator, isn't it? So Java and Java programming both will be accepting. So we can conclude the compiler and interpreter will be a type of programming translator. That means to converting the user code to machine understanding format. So that will be done by these two translators. That is providing by high level programming language. One is based on the structured programming or procedure oriented programming. Another one is based on or linked with the object oriented programming. So compiler is a structured or procedure, and interpreter is related to object oriented programming language. So this is a translation, how the translation will be done by Java programming. So this we can conclude it.